today's keynote speaker is the person who has been working relentlessly to develop our capital market for more than 30 years. He is none other than Mr. Arif Khan. I would like to request Mr. Arif Khan to come up on stage and to give a presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Arif Khan.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Chief Guest of today's program, Mr. Salman F. Rahman, Advisor to our Honorable Prime Minister for Private Sector and Investment, Honorable Chairman of SEC, who is the organizer of this program, lots of dignitaries, Bangladesh Government Secretaries, BIDA Chairman, BEBSA Chairman, I can see lots of banks Chairman, CEOs, and most importantly, the investing community from Washington, D.C. A very good morning to all of you. Our chairman has already given you a frame about Bangladesh, what is happening. I will give you a more detailed background with numbers that how Bangladesh is progressing recently. So I call it Bangladesh an undiscovered gem of Asia, most importantly South Asia. So look at this slide. This slide summarizes Bangladesh's achievement over the last 50 years. This year we are celebrating 50 years of our independence. So this slide on the center, if you look into that, in 1971, our poverty rate was we were dependent on foreign aid, 98%. And now, in 2021 and 22, it's 2.9%. That is a massive achievement. If you look into the other fact sheet, look at the poverty rate, 71% was in 1973. It's now around 20% in 2019. I guess that because of COVID, it might have increased further a bit, but I'm sure that it will again come back to 20% rate. Life expectancy, it's 72 years, one of the highest in the South Asia. If you look into female labor force, Bangladesh, 30% female labor force are female. That's highest in South Asia. And the literacy rate is 75%. I would not say that small achievement for a young country of 50 years coming from that 98% dependency to this level in last 50 years' time. What is happening in Bangladesh? A quick fact sheet, I think that will give you a better understanding about Bangladesh. We are the 8th largest populous country in the world, around 170 million people. Median age of our people is 27 years. Our economy is around 324 billion. I think very latest figure would be around $350 billion. 8th largest remittance earner in the world. We have a 10-year average GDP growth rate is almost 7%. And recently we have graduated from least developed country to a middle-income country. If you look into the right side of this slide, you can see that we are the largest jute exporter in the world. We are the second largest garment exporter in the world. Many of the Oxford Street shops and Manhattan shops actually carry the tag made in Bangladesh. And we all now say that like China, make in Bangladesh. That is coming very fast. I'll come later in these slides. We are the third largest vegetable producer in the world. We are the fourth largest rice and fish producer. Many people can remember in 1970s there were food shortage, but recently Bangladesh is completely self-sufficient in food, and actually we are exporting, and I read an article that in poultry even, Bangladesh is almost there in next 3 to 4 years' time we can export poultry to other countries. So that's the major achievements in terms of those agriculture area. But look into this GDP growth rate, it was very slowly growing until 2010, and after that very sharp hockey stick growth, we are seeing that in Bangladesh economic front going on. Export import on both front, Bangladesh trade finance is actually increasing significantly. Remittance is one of the driving force of our economy, and I think we are the 8th largest remittance earner in the world. And $23 billion we are expecting this year it will cross $25 billion US. And this $25 billion is almost 100% retained in the country. This is actually driving with the RMG sector and the remittance, our foreign exchange reserve. If you look into the graph, from 2010, it's actually exponentially growing. And our SEC chairman last week, I was talking to him and he was telling that this can be $70 billion in the next couple of years' time. Think for a country of that size of $350 billion GDP, $70 billion approaching forex reserve is one of the major achievements, and that's why our foreign currency is one of the most stable foreign currency in the whole region and actually in the whole world. How is Bangladesh performing compared to other Asian, South Asian economic? If you look into this from 2010, we have shown here up to 2020. And recently, when there is a COVID, Bangladesh still achieved 5.2% growth rate. And if you look into the curve, other countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, and India, almost India contracted by 8%. What the world is talking about Bangladesh, I think that would be more relevant for us. These are the fact sheets which cover that Bangladesh is one of the lowest debt GDP country, around 39%. Our remittance is, as I mentioned, almost $25 billion forex reserve. So as in total, the Moody's and Fitch rating, they say that Bangladesh's stable outlook is there. Now, what PwC is talking about, they have a projection that how the frontier and emerging economy will grow until 2050. And in that curve, we are Bangladesh, until 2050, the country will grow at the rate of almost 5%. It's the third fastest growing economy in the world until 2050. And if that happens, our current GDP, $350 billion, can go up to $1 trillion. I think for a country targeting this kind of $1 trillion GDP by 2050 is one of the most impressive growth projections. And we can see from private sector, I've been working in the banking sector for the last 30 years, and I remember that even 15 years back, when there was a flood in the country, people are talking that our clients, who are SME clients, we finance them in the village, our people went there and found that they are hardly affected because their livestock were dead. But this time, when there is a flood, we sent our people and they say that their refrigerator is not working, their microwave is damaged. So people has lifted their position from that position to this, and I think that growth projection is very much in line with what we have seen in the business. And as you can see in the bottom of the table, that by 2050 we can be 24th largest economy in the world. Another report from Boston Consulting Group, which tells that middle and affluent class of the country, although our per capita income is around $2,100, $2,200, but there is a population in the country whose per capita income is more than $5,000. And that income that number of people, which is now 12 million, will go up to 34 million. So threefold growth of the MAC population. What does that mean? 34 million people having more than $5,000 income. There are many European countries who has got that kind of population. So that's another important factor that the world is talking about it. Most important thing, there was a survey that where the RMG outsourcing will happen after China, or where Chinese orders will, where the sourcing will go after China relocation happens. And here it's shown that Bangladesh will attract 54% of the relocation benefit from China. Now, if you look into what has happened compared to our geographical location, look at Bangladesh. We are just middle of India and China. That's why economist has mentioned Bangladesh as Chindia. And Bangladesh is located between these two markets, and as a result, I think the Indian and Chinese growth will definitely have some spiraling down effect on Bangladesh. Look at the median population of Bangladesh is 27 years, and compared to India, Vietnam, Sri Lanka, and China, I think our population is the most youngest population in the world. Look at this slide. What is happening in Bangladesh? I think we are creating 100 economic zones. On the bottom of this table we have mentioned, our Honorable Prime Minister has envisioned that we can give the investors, international investors, investment zones where they can get all kinds of facilities together so that they can build a factory at the very fastest possible time. And that visionary leadership are also taking this kind of projects, the nuclear power plant, coal power plant, Maheshkhali LNG terminal, Matarbari power plant, Podda multi-purpose bridge, Podda rail link, Dhaka metro rail, Chattogram Cox's Bazar railway, Dhaka elevated expressway, Dhaka Chattogram expressway, Kornofuli underwater tunnel, and Pyra deep port. I have just taken few of those. There are many, but if you take into consideration this kind of infrastructure, there is normally economists say that fast growth of in any country is the agriculture. Then it moves to textile. And Bangladesh is, after textile, now moving to infrastructure. And that is a massive, massive thing going on in Bangladesh. But look at the progress rate of these big projects. Matarbari power plant almost 42% done. Podda multi-purpose bridge almost 93% done. Dhaka metro rail 67% done. And Kornofuli underwater tunnel almost 70% done. So we can expect by next 2-3 years' time, there will be massive change in the infrastructure of Bangladesh. And entire south region of Bangladesh are getting connected to Podda bridge. And economists say that that will have an impact of around 2% in our GDP. As I already mentioned, look at this graph, Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, and Vietnam. And we have covered in almost 15 years. Our debt to GDP ratio is one of the lowest in the region. That tells that Bangladesh never failed to pay any debt to any international donor since independence. And still, our foreign exchange is reserving to a great level. Look at the electricity generation. Our honorable advisor is here, Mr. Salman F. Rahman, in other day mentioned. This is the lifeline of our government's visionary work, and that actually helped Bangladesh to grow to this level. In 2008, our electricity generation capacity was only 5,300 megawatt. And what has happened? Remarkable progress. I think this is the best graph I can tell you. It looks in one page, but huge work has gone into to reach to this 25,000 megawatt. If you look into the per capita electricity generation, it's also another growth rate. I think in every respect, our government is now targeting by 2041, we will have 60,000 megawatt electricity. Not only that, I can tell Bangladesh, our Honorable Prime Minister has been adjudged by United Nations as champions of Earth. And she is now advising that we should move to the solar power generation. And I know that solar power generation in Bangladesh also coming up very fastly. Now, what are the key reasons that you should come to Bangladesh? I have already mentioned that sustainable economic growth, political stability, forward-looking infrastructure strategy, labor cost competitiveness, and innovation and digitization, and skilled workforce. I will tell you about this slide, that it's not that we are only talking about Bangladesh, but look at these multinational companies, Unilever, Telenor, Axiata, British American Tobacco, Samsung. I would not go into every name, but they are all doing business in Bangladesh almost for many of them are since independence, before independence. And everybody is progressing. I know that Telenor Group's EBITDA margin is almost 57%, one of the highest EBITDA margin in the world that anybody can expect. Unilever CEO mentioned that their distribution cost is the lowest in Bangladesh because so many people live in proximity. Standard Chartered Bank, every year they make almost $400 million in Bangladesh, and remitting the money without any disturbances. So go and ask these international investors how they are getting benefit from investing in Bangladesh. The Japanese and Korean investors, there are lots of Japanese and Korean investors. They are also, I think, if you just check with them, everybody will say that there are difficulties, like in frontier market, it's not very easy. There can be some complications, but taking into that complications and other factors together and the return together, your adjusted return after this complications, whatever we mentioned, is one of the highest in the world. What is happening in digitization in Bangladesh? I think if you look into that, these numbers, the daily mobile financial transaction is now more than $200 million. E-commerce market is now $2 billion. We are expecting it will reach anytime soon $5 billion. Our 28 high-tech park, our Honorable Prime Minister, our State Minister for ICT, our ICT advisor has envisioned that this high-tech park now accommodating lots of young, energetic startup companies to actually earn remittance from international. And I was watching some video where I have seen young freelancer in Bangladesh, very fresh, 1-2 year experience, they are earning almost hourly $50, $100 rate from international work. So these are the visionary thing that, and not only that, look at this, we were 3G in 2013 in telecommunication. Now we have moved into 4G, and we are expecting that we'll move into 5G by 2025. Look at the digitization rate. Government is planning to digitization in all government offices. And more than 120 local companies are actually exporting more than $1 billion. Bangladesh is the second largest supplier of online labor. Online labor. This is a new concept. And if you look into this, and it has been achieved because of these factors, which has been shown at the bottom of this graph. Mobile phone subscriber, 175 million. Almost, there are some double counting, but I think that it will cover more than almost 90%. Internet subscriber, 170 million. Active freelancer, now it is actually 10 lakh, not 5 lakh, 1 million. Internet affordability price, look at this graph. How government helped our population to be connected. 98% decline in the bandwidth price since 2008. That's a massive, massive affordability for our people. 2 submarine cables and a third is currently underway. We have got 2 submarine cables, another submarine cable is underway. Our internet users increased by 18 times since 2006. We are exporting bandwidth now. So it looks like one of the magical things happened in internet penetration in Bangladesh. And the bandwidth consumption also, you can see on the right of the graph, is also growing very, very fast. How Bangladesh economy is performing during this COVID? I think from my experience, there was projection that due to COVID, Bangladesh mortality from these cases will be very significantly high. But world has seen Bangladesh is managing it much better than any other part of the world. And Bangladesh economy is showing that it will grow by, it has already grown by 5.2%. Now, what is happening in the capital market? Most important factor, I would say, that in the capital market, our liquidity is one of the driving force of the capital market recently. Highest excess liquidity is happening, lying down in the bank recently, and that is actually helping the capital market to grow. Our deposit rate is one of the lowest in the last 25 years. It was as high as 11% sometimes. And our Honorable Prime Minister and his cabinet, her cabinet was driving that we should allow the market to bring down the interest rate level to single digit, and many of us actually were opposing. We didn't have that vision to see how it can happen. And interestingly, it has happened, and now bankers are giving loan at 7-8%, which actually one of the major things that happened in terms of credit pricing. How the Bangladesh stock market is performing. Look at last 1 year, from July to June 21, Bangladesh market offered a return of 54.2%. If we look into current year, it is 2020, it is 21.3%. And if you look into, compare with other countries in the graph, you can see that Bangladesh is the fastest, highest return generating capital market in the region. Our market is around $61 billion market cap, but our market is mostly dominated by equity market. So I understand that with introduction of more bond market and more bringing the government securities in the market, this market capitalization can go double by next couple of years' time. If you look into this market cap to GDP ratio, it's still low, but we are targeting much bigger. And on the other side, you can also see the number of companies and sectoral exposure. Now, what is the valuation of the market? If anybody comes to Bangladesh market, for international investors, I must tell that bringing in money to Bangladesh, investing in the stock, and selling the stock with profit, and remitting the money from your own country to your own country is flawless. There is no regulatory intervention in between. Anybody can instantly buy and sell and take out the money for our country. This is one of the greatest foreign exchange liberal policy the Bangladesh government is following. We are a major stockbroker in the country, and we see how foreign investors comfortably can bring and remit the money once they think that they want to remit. And the valuation-wise, how the stock market looks like. Our market, although I mentioned you that last 1 year, 54% increased. Does that mean that it has increased too high level? But still, if you look into this valuation, it is around 15 times. I will come with a regional comparative market where then we can see that how the valuation looks like. And as I said, that our market capitalization, we are targeting to increase it to at least 25 to 30% in next couple of years' time. Our foreign investment to the market is around 7%, 6 to 7%, which I think with the introduction of our SEC chairman is very, very focused and leading everything from the front, that he's introducing bond market, he's bringing more good companies in the market, he's talking about derivatives, introduction of derivatives. I think once, and also exchange traded fund. I work for a fund management company, Shanta Asset Management, and we are thinking that we will bring an ETF fund from Bangladesh focus market. I'm sure that SEC chairman, whatever, and his team is targeting, this ratio will be significantly different in the next couple of years' time. At the same time, our mutual fund industry is also very young. We expect that this will also grow very fast in the next couple of years' time. How the stock markets return in the market? If you look into the best performing market over a period of 7 years, you can see almost every year we got more than 15% return. There are volatility, but there are good stocks in the market who offer highest return. How the world market is talking about Bangladesh capital market, the AFC Asian Frontier Capital, they are saying the best performing indexes in the universe in the last 1 year. HSBC said that Bangladesh is more diversified with no foreign ownership limit. No foreign ownership limit. It can be 100% even. Vietnam's market is skewed towards banks and property. So it's more diversified compared to Vietnam. Bangladesh uncorrelated with the global macro and equities. That means Bangladesh is an uncorrelated market. I mean, the emerging market and frontier market definition-wise, if foreign investors invest in the market, I think if the global market goes up, there is no immediate correlation. That's why Bangladesh offers an unique opportunity for managing the volatility in the fund management business. HSBC also tells that an opportunity to find a hidden gem. Bangladesh has higher earnings growth, but sell-side stock coverage is limited. So all these are actually very positive, and Dawn Global has recently said that they have launched an ETF, thematic ETF, including Bangladesh, Indonesia, Pakistan, Philippines, and Vietnam. And they say that Bangladesh and Vietnam are 2 of only 3 countries globally to have grown GDP consecutive 40 years. There are issues, but I think this tells that the story of Bangladesh is very compelling. And very recently, our SEC is taking lots of reforms. I would say that those are very revolutionary. I am not going into more detail about this, but actually the items that you can see that corporates are allowed to issue bonds, perpetual bonds, targeting government securities to be listed in the market, launching municipal bonds in the market, mandatory perpetual bond listing. These are all, and for direct listing of perpetual bond, I think these are all very, very new concept and moving very fast. At the same time, if you look into these items, stringent but faster public issue policy, enforcement of minimum shareholding rule, launching of SME platform. This, I would say, that another major thing that will happen in Bangladesh capital market. And I think that there is a potential that every year, whatever IPO size we see in the market, with the launch of active SME platform, I think this can be 10 times bigger in terms of number of issues that come in the market. Because we were an SME financier for the last 15 years. And I have seen one thing, that although Bangladesh non-performing loan ratio is very high, but in SME segment, when I worked for the largest NBFI in the country for 5 years as CEO, and I have seen there the SME's non-performing loan ratio is less than 3%. That means the future is with the SME of the country. And SMEs are 70% of the labor force, and I think SEC has rightly understood the potential of SME, and we think that this will be a revolutionary change. What is the next big move in the Bangladesh capital market, that introduction of more technology. Our stock exchange is now opening up with giving us the API to be a, I think SEC chairman every day is talking about that I want to bring everything on palm top. And that's how the globe is moving. And Bangladesh will not also, cannot sit idle. We are also working to launch our online mobile phone-based trading system. I think that will come very fast in due course of time. So what we can tell in conclusion, that a resilient, fast-growing economy with a growing middle class, a strong macroeconomic outlook, with robust external balance sheet with low debt GDP ratio, powerful consumption driver middle class, internal demand-driven economy, and the capital markets recent initiative and the leadership and all. I think one thing I must conclude, that here our Prime Minister advisor for industry is here, our important government secretaries are here, our BIDA chairman is here, our BEBSA chairman here. All this tells one thing: the government is serious about it. Because these people are actually with us for last couple of days and will be with us for another almost 10 days. This tells that government is serious about Bangladesh. From wherever we are today, we will go back to the next stage. Thank you very much for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you all.